And listen, I don't know how many times I can pontificate about my greatness. I don't know how many times I can tell you that it's both wide and long. I just don't know. But we told you yesterday on the show, and Oak State James lost his mind in the comment section and said, Monty, there's no way with a $15 million. Well, it turns out there is, James, because Chaboy got fired.
Length and girth.
And as I said yesterday on the show, this was talked about all weekend long in the upper echelons of Stillwater, Oklahoma. And here's the reality. And in all seriousness, before we get to all the rectory jokes, in all seriousness, this was talked about after the first loss. When you look at Oklahoma State and you start asking yourself, how bad has it been? It's been really bad. And I think Mike Gundy had zero room for error. And then you lost to Oregon. And I was told, and I talked about this on the show after the Oregon game, I was told boosters, supporters wanted him fired after the Oregon game. And the upper ups at Oklahoma State wanted to give Mike Gundy another chance. And I think there was more rage and vitriol about the Tulsa loss than there was the absolute embarrassment that was Oregon. And here's really the problem. Mike Gundy should have been fired after last season. How much damage has been done by allowing this stank to linger over Stillwater? And I would tell you, according to sources that I've heard from today, it is considerable. There is a belief around college football that Oak State is a bad job and it is a toxic environment. There is very little agreement about what needs to happen at Oak State to right that ship. I am told, as I tweeted earlier, Zach Robinson is, by all accounts, the number one candidate in most people's minds. He has let it be known through intermediaries that he does not want to replace Mike Gundy. And I think that's a very, very smart decision. I think right now you need to let this season go, and Oklahoma State needs a clean house when this season is over with. And it is without question, without doubt now, you hung on to what you thought you had, but you never had it. You never had a chance to compete the last 2 years. You are not competitive on the field or off the field. You do not recruit well. You are perceived, and I can tell you, I spoke to an athletic director today in a G5 conference who told me we have more money than Oklahoma State does. Let that sink in. A G5 athletic director believes they have more money than Oklahoma State has. That's how bad and how much damage has been done to the Oklahoma State football brand. And it's going to take a Hail Mary hire to fix that. And if they, listen, I would tell you, most people believe Garrett Riley is the next great offensive guy in college football. How on earth are you going to get Will Steiner, Garrett Riley to leave jobs when Zach Robinson doesn't want to replace Mike Gundy? Because I think the national perception is that Zach Robinson is by far the leading candidate for this job. And he's been the leading candidate for this job since last season ended. Because the truth about Oak State, boosters and supporters of this program have wanted Mike Gundy gone since the end of last year, and cutting his salary was a tip of the cap to those loud voices, and it only made things worse. It didn't get better. Nobody was happy with the hires he made at coordinator. And I've told you for months and months and months on this show, those were two really bad hires. And I think it showed in their incredible regression defensively, because they have been much worse defensively. I think it shows that Zane Flores is not even slightly better this year than he was last year, or really at any time that we've seen him at Oak State. Jake, I don't know how you spin this. I think Oak State is absolutely toxic right now, and I think it's going to be very difficult to get a top candidate to take that job.
Yeah, well, and I think the hard part is like just how far does that toxicity go at the university itself? Like obviously athletic director, but just how high up the food chain is it? Because the real question that seemingly, we have to talk about is yeah, how do you change the perception of the program? I mean, nobody seems to have a problem taking jobs where the last guy really struggled and, it was clearly the guy, not the program, right? Like if the narrative was, hey, Oak State's got a ton of money and like UCLA, right? Deshaun Foster, that's clearly the guy, not UCLA. I think we all agreed on that.
I would agree.
But like with Oklahoma State, it's this situation where it's like, yeah, we all knew that Gundy was at the end there, and we knew that clearly he had not embraced the new age in college football. But now the idea that it's well known that Oklahoma State doesn't have a ton of money, that's difficult. And I don't know, like it's not just that you have to go and get more money now. It's that you have to go and like circle the wagons almost. You got to kind of like get people in order and on the same page and like get people to agree on things that they may not necessarily agree about in terms of the direction of the program, who to hire, how you like it. When money is attached to opinions, that makes things much more difficult to get going in the right direction. And that's my fear for Oklahoma State is that yeah, like I would love to see a Garrett Riley get after it, for Oklahoma State or whoever it might be. But the reality is we know how college football works now. I mean, we're seeing a week by week living example in teams like Texas Tech that if you have money and you have a coach who's willing to go out and use that money to get talent, that you can be good in a pretty quick fashion.
Yeah.
But when you don't have money, and you got to hire a new coach, like, I don't know. I mean, is this corrected in 3 seasons, 5 seasons? Like, how long is it going to be before you're back up and running? Which is why I say, dude, like, this is not just an Oklahoma State conversation.
No,
I mean,
it
we
is
just
not.
I mean, I know that Oklahoma State has been scratched off the college football playoff conversation for, 2 seasons now? But I mean, now it's just like they're eviscerated out of the conversation. They're not even a factor at this point. That's the hard part for the conference.
Well, and I also think this belief that they don't have money, I don't believe that that's accurate. I think Oak State has money, and I think that it's very difficult. If you look at the jobs that are going to be open that are marquee jobs, I don't think there's any doubt Clemson, if Dabo somehow is no longer the head coach at Clemson, that becomes one of the best jobs in college football that's open. Does Oak State even get in the same conversation with a coaching candidate as a Clemson? Absolutely not. Clemson's a marquee job where you can attract talent. The boosters have very clearly said they have money and they want to spend it. I don't believe under any circumstance. Like, I was talking to another guy today who brought up Sharon Moore at Michigan. And I had talked about yesterday Bryce Underwood getting in the portal. It is, I don't think it's any doubt that is their biggest concern at Michigan. If Bryce is in the portal, is he even taking phone calls from a Stillwater area code?
No,
he's not. No, he's not at all. Because if you look at some of the veterans, is he taking a phone call from an Oklahoma, from a Norman, Oklahoma? Yes, he is. Is he taking a phone call from a Clemson, South Carolina? Yes, he is. Right? You go around college football, if a guy with the talent of a Bryce Underwood is in the portal, he would instantly probably be the jewel of the portal. And I think it's very interesting to me that there's so much belief and so much struggle in where does Oak State go from here and how steep is the hill? And I say this because Brett Yormark is also messaging very differently, according to my sources, over the last 3 to 5 weeks since the season kicked off. Brett Yormark has made it very clear the only thing that matters in this conference is winning football games. And I'll go back to Texas Tech. That's now the model for winning football games in this conference. That's who this conference wants to be. And when I look at the way Utah loses to Texas Tech as the latest example. The pure devastation on Kyle Whittingham's face after that game, the devastation of those kids, because Kyle Whittingham and everybody in that program showed up Saturday morning believing they were about to win a football game. And the pure devastation of losing was never present when Tulsa beat Oak State. It was never present because Oklahoma State doesn't expect to show up on Saturday and win football games. And when you look at the depth that we currently find Oklahoma State in, there's no easy answer here because Oak State, James, and every other, fan of the Cowboys that have been in this comment section telling me that I don't know anything about Oklahoma State. Here's what I do know. You're not talented. You don't have talent. You don't have depth. You don't have good coaching. You're terrible at recruiting. And now there is a belief that G5 programs spend more money in the portal than you do. And you know what the truth is? It's awfully difficult to argue that. It's awfully difficult to argue that.
Yeah,
and
it's tough.
Jake, I don't know how you get over that.
Yeah, I mean, I how do you fix reputation? How do you fix what people think of you? How do you fix what is not tangible to you, right? Like, how do you fix something that you can't touch or manipulate? It's just kind of what's known about you. Again, your reputation, the status of how things are going in your pro. I mean, that's a really difficult thing to fix. And the truth of that, the answer is, well, you fix it by just starting to do things the right way. And maybe Garrett Riley's not available to you. Maybe, these top candidates are not available to you. I mean, that may be the truth, right? Like, you may have to come to accept that reality and accept the fact that, you're yes, you are a power program, but financially you're not. You're competing with G5s right now, and that has to change. And that's where I just say, how deep does the rabbit hole go in terms of problems? Like, is this a thing where the leadership of the university's got to step into the athletic department and say, hey, dude, like, what are we doing here? Like, where does the buck stop? Because that's what I think Oklahoma State, at least nationally, right, from afar, that's what I feel like the perception of the program was. Hey, it's Gundy's program. It's Gundy's show. We're doing it Gundy's way because he's been here forever. And, we don't, like, your athletic director is not a household name, right? Like, this is not Michigan, dude.
I think Chad Wyberg is somebody that is firmly entrenched there. And I frankly, you guys, today was straight downhill. I have no idea what's in the ethos out there, so it may be reported or not. I was told he got a really significant contract extension today. And if that in fact is the case, I'm not surprised because Chad Wyberg is a guy that people respect and like in Stillwater. He's got the boosters. He's got the supporters. More importantly, he's got administration and faculty who like him. He is somebody that across the Oak State ethos is well respected and liked. So if it is in fact true that he got that extension today, and I'm not stating it as fact because I don't know it to be fact. I was just told that by somebody who knows. I mean, that's not surprising to me. Chad Wyberg has done a good, not a great job. But how do you do a great job when Mike Gundy is your football coach and he wasn't going to be able to fire himself? Until the Tulsa loss, and I think I even used the phraseology, the Oregon loss was the tipping point. That night after that Oregon drubbing, phone calls were had, discussions were had. That next morning when the ball club got back to the facility, Mike Gundy was in the facility fighting for his job. And I want to make this clear, at no point did Mike Gundy offer to resign. There were some stuff out there that he offered to quit, and Wyberg begged him to stay. That never happened. I was told point blank today that Mike Gundy fought to keep his job after the Oregon loss and viewed the Tulsa game as a get-back game. And they lost that game, and it was a fait accompli at that point. And Jake and I think even texted on Sunday morning, I'm surprised the news hasn't come out that he got fired.
Right.
right? I am surprised that Sunday morning there wasn't a release. And I was told that's because conversations were happening behind the scenes. One of them was with Wyberg and his contract situation, because I don't even know how many people realize this. Chad Wyberg hasn't had a contract. He's been without a contract here for some time. And I think there was discussion about both of them or one of them. And I was told it came back universally. We want Chad here. He's the right guy in this environment to resurrect this program, because all Oak State cares about is winning football games, or at least that's what their boosters and supporters are saying. All they care about is winning football games. And so I think they were trying to get a contract done for Wyberg behind the scenes. I think they got that deal done. And I think as part of that deal, I was told that Chad Wyberg wanted control over this coaching search. He wanted to remove Mike Gundy, and he wanted control of the coaching search. And it appears he got that. He got that.
And I think that's what's best for the program, honestly. Like I listen, nothing is all one person's fault, right? Like it's not all Mike's fault. But the reality is that this program was competing for the conference 2 seasons ago. And since then, you're just not that guy. And this is a what have you done for me lately business. And haven't done much. And yeah, I think that, as I say on this show, I've said it for years, it matters how you win and it matters how you lose, right?
Yes.
If you lost to Oregon by 10, you wouldn't be fired right now.
That's correct.
If you lost to Oregon by 10 and you had beat Tulsa handily, you'd still have your job, but you didn't, so you don't. And that's the problem.
Well, I think, and again, not to be redundant, and you guys, I'm sure, are going to be telling me that I always say, listen, go back, the tape is here. Jake and I have been talking about the fact that there was unsteadiness at Oak State all season long, all summer, all off season. And we talked about this when they cut his pay. The loudest voices in the room did not want to fire Mike Gundy. The ones who had the money wanted to fire Mike Gundy when the season ended last year. The loudest voices did not. They had a terrible portal, but Mike Gundy sold the administration on the fact that, look at the volume. Hey, look, I hired new coordinators, because Mike, I was also told, did not want to make staff changes after last year. And he was told in no uncertain terms that you're going to make staff changes or you're going to be changed. You're going to be fired. He made staff changes. And I think the real problem is the play got worse. It did not get better, which is not surprising. When you have an entire new staff around, it's hard to hit the ground running.
And
right?
all the transfers. I mean, how many transfers, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, you had so many new kids. Like, come on.
I think, I don't think there's any doubt that I feel very strongly, based on the people I've spoken to, that Mike Gundy wanted to keep his job today. And this was done last night, I would remind you. There was some real consternation over why they let him have more press time, more face time. And it's because they were trying to get Wyberg's deal done, in my opinion, based on what I had heard. Because, again, this has been an ongoing situation. I think it's a signal that Oak State's doing things in the right direction. And it's going to be very interesting that when you look at the way that this all came together, it'll be tough, but I think they're going to have to do the hard work now. And I can tell you, just in text messaging with a source right now, I am told that Chad Wyberger got a 2-year guarantee and 2 more additional years. So the first 2 years of his extension are guaranteed. It is a 2-year plus a 2+2 extension. It's called. Your 2 years are guaranteed, and then you get 2 more after that. And I think that's exactly what it should be. And because I don't believe that all Oak State sports are a mess. I don't believe that there are the doomers and gloomers out there who want to tell you that, hey, this entire athletic department's a mess. That's just simply not the case. And I think when you start looking at some of the numbers, would you like to go they were sub 500 in basketball last year? Is that what you're trying to do? No. But I think football is what counts in Stillwater. And I think that's what you are focused on right now. And today, as painful as today is for some in Stillwater, today was very necessary and it was very overdue.
Yeah,
very
I mean,
overdue.
I think nobody would have been shocked if this day had happened at the end of last year, right? Like once the last game of last season ended, for the regular
Jake,
season.
they tried.
Yeah,
and I'll give you credit because you said they should fire him the day of that last game. I vividly remember
not the bowl game, the regular season game.
No, I vividly remember you saying, this should be it. It should be over. They're not going to win. Like when you go, because we were talking about will Oak State go winless in conference. Right. I remember it like it was yesterday's show. We were talking about will Oak State go winless in conference. And you correctly said, hey, if you're not going to win a conference game, you don't deserve to be the head coach at Oak State or any other university. And I agree with you. And it's tough because they didn't lose to Colorado. They got humiliated by Colorado. That's the 400-yard Shador game. That is, I mean, you got humiliated. And I think you were right then, and I think you're probably right now. This is going to be a long climb, and it's going to be painful. But I am telling you that there is no question that Brett Yormark has raised the bar in this league.
I would agree with that.
And I think Kyle Whittingham's on the clock. As painful it is for me to say that. Dave Aranda, like you look at the change in this league, and you look at the current state of Big 12 football. Let's just be brutally honest. It's not good enough. This is a bad football league right now without a marquee team. And the closest thing that this league has to a marquee team is Tortillaville with Texas Tech. And how did they get there? They have a billionaire bankrolling their portal. And whether you like that or not, whether you want that to be the case or not, that is what it is. And if we look at the standings in this league, it's not good enough. It's not good enough that K-State's 1-3. It's not good enough that West Virginia, Colorado, Baylor are 2-2. That Oak State's 1-2. It's not good enough. We're talking about Kyle Whittingham being on the clock. They're 3-1, and they just lost to now and arguably the best team in the conference in a game that, frankly, was a 7 to 10 point game. And we'll see where Utah goes from here. But that guy, Kyle Whittingham, he's hearing the noise. I guarantee it.
Well, but I also think for Kyle Whittingham, and this to me is a big difference between because everyone loves to compare Kyle Whittingham and Mike Gundy because their trajectories have been similar. They've been in one spot for a really long time.
Can't do
it. And I've never really loved that comparison. I mean, I guess I understand the things that make them similar, but I look at these two and you know the difference with Kyle Whittingham is it's that you wouldn't have to fire Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham would simply retire. Kyle Whittingham would say, you know what? Hey, man, had my run. It's awesome. I'm going to hand this thing off to Morgan, and Morgan's going to take over. Ask him the questions now because I'm heading to Hawaii. I'm heading to the beach. Like, you know, that would be the difference. And you know, I hate to say this, but I almost feel like it wouldn't be a negative day in Salt Lake, in my opinion, because I think people have been talking about Whit for years. Like in the conversation up until now, I feel like was, well, how long does he have left? He's doing a great job. Like, how long are we gonna, how long can we stay at this level? Like, I remember after the Rose Bowl loss to thee, everyone was like, damn, dude, like we're one injury away from potentially going on a CFP run here and doing amazing things. And since that point, it's been a downward trajectory for a variety of reasons. And again, Just like
Right.
with Gundy, yes, you're the head coach. You bear all the responsibility. I'm a firm believer that head coaches get hired to get fired. That's part of the business. But I'm just telling you, there's a reason that these two programs are in such different positions. Like, couldn't be further away from each other. Utah's got a contingency plan. Utah's ready to go. They're prepared. And Oklahoma State is sitting here giving their athletic director a 2+2 extension and having to figure out how to get their money in order and their people. And it just seems like it's chaotic. That's
but look at, but in the Big 12, what who's a big is Matt Rule on the hot seat? His seat's not cool, right? I mean, you're telling me that Billy Napier is going to survive? Are you telling me that Luke Fickell's going to survive?
Yeah,
Are
but
you
like Billy
telling me
Napier is a great example, right? It's that like the difference between Billy Napier and Luke Fickell is that Florida has national championship aspirations. Like, they've been there, they've done that. Tim Tebow was a thing. Like, the Swamp's been there. Like, they've seen that level of success, come through and now be in the past, and they're trying to recreate it. Whereas like with Wisconsin, dude, I couldn't tell you the last time Wisconsin won a national championship, but I feel pretty confident that it was before I was alive. Could be wrong. And that's the difference, dude.
I just look at programs like Sam Pittman in Arkansas. You lose to Notre Dame this weekend, and you're getting fired. I mean, I look at Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati. Not fucking good enough, right?
Clearly.
Like I think, like, if I just look at some of the like Dave Aranda, not good enough. Justin Wilcox at Cal. How did you lose that game this weekend to San Diego State? Not good enough, right? Sean Lewis at San Diego State, Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. You look at some of these programs, and you have to say to yourself, I just don't know. I don't know how Trent Dilfer at UAB is going to survive. I have no idea. If I go up and down this list, Tony Elliott at Virginia cannot survive. There's no way. There is no way that Trent Bray at Oregon State can survive, because these programs are terrible. Yet Mike Gundy got 2 extra years. Yet Dave Aranda's gotten 2 extra years. And what do they have in common? How many years did Neil Brown deserve to be fired? What do they have in common?
That phrase was a running joke.
There were fucking billboards in Morgantown. What do they have in common? Those are Big 12 institutions at West Virginia. Big 12 institutions at Baylor. Right? Big 12 institution at Oak State. And yet they still were able to hang on. And it's inexplicable that who's another SEC? Mark Stoops is going to get fired at Kentucky. If Kalen DeBoer farts in the wrong direction, he's gone in Tuscaloosa. They're already looking for him. Right? Will anybody be surprised? I think Hugh Freeze is probably keeping his job at this point. But if Auburn fires Hugh Freeze, and I think Hugh's got a $6.5 million buyout, would anybody really be surprised? I probably would not be surprised. Like, I look up and down the SEC and I say to myself, Mark Stoops, Hugh Freeze, Billy Napier's a year too long in that job. If you really wanted to win, right? But yet guys like Brent Brennan at Arizona, is Brent Brennan keeping his job?
Absolutely.
Is Willie Fritz at Houston keeping his job now? I would think so. Is Lance Leipold at Kansas? Probably they're winning.
See, that's one that I'm like, all right, dude, yes, you're winning. Yes, you got the building updated. Yes. But ultimately, when is Kansas going to compete for the Big 12? Like, because that's the question that I think anyone in administration, that's your question now. I don't care if you're bowl eligible or if you were an 8-win team. Nobody cares. 8 wins might as well be 1 win. I just don't care, because it's not any, like, yeah, you can feel a little better. Maybe it helps you in recruiting a little bit, but did you really accomplish anything as a head coach if you're an 8-win head coach in today's college football? Because I don't think you did. Like
No.
that's not you. Like you're not. You look up and down the standings, dude. There are teams that are 2-0, and there are teams that are 0-2.
Yep.
Which are you? And that's what I'm saying. Like again, it's no shade to guys like Lance Leipold or Sonny in Fort Worth, dude. Like it's no shade to you, dude. You've been to the CFP, but when are we gonna go back? Like we need to be making money.
But isn't this the conversation we've had about Mike Gundy? This is the third year now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we've been talking about Mike Gundy for the two previous years. You saw it going downhill. And I think the truth is colleges like Oak State are just too tentative to let legends go. But I'm going to ask you, how many legends get the Nick Saban treatment where he just gets to walk away? How many get the Chris Peterson treatment? How many get the Bob Stoops treatment? None. And you know why? Because those are all legends of coaching.
Because they did, oh, that's right, a lot of national championshiping.
And yet, how many times have we seen the Mike Gundys? Kyle Whittingham is gingerly on this stoop right now. Right? It just is, it's very dangerous. All right, let's get your conversations. I see all the comments today. Please feel free to weigh in. We love that you guys interact with the show. Fanboy Prime, a member of the show for 7 months.
Okay, hang on, I gotta catch up here. All right, here we go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you do your job, Jake. A lesson for all of us: adapt or die. Truth. Dabo, are you listening?
But here's a question, in for a different day, for the next 2 seasons when you're watching this program. If we take this comment here, adapt or die, if Oklahoma State continues to be a bottom feeder in the Big 12, was it really Gundy or is it the program? Because yes, Gundy's the surface level, he's the fall guy. I agree, not great at coaching in modern day college football.
Right.
But I can also say he had you relevant at certain points, right? You had a couple of nice seasons over his 20 years. Now, you were never national championship good, in my opinion. You were you got far down the road, but you were never really in danger of winning it all.
I would agree.
And so I just sit here and I say, dude, bro, a lesson for us all: adapt or die. Okay, if we're gonna say that, and I don't disagree, I just hope that athletic director, president, boosters, I hope they all get their ass in line, because this is going to go one of 2 ways now. Mike Gundy's fired. The excuses of, oh, it's Gundy. That's all gone now. We're past that now. Now it's forward. So let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting when you look at the talent that Oklahoma State has had or not had, right? And it's really tough under Mike Gundy that you just feel like you've lost. You just feel like you've lost the ability to recruit a good quarterback. You feel like, and I understand why Oak State fans are really excited or were really excited about Haas Hengy, but TCU doesn't let good quarterbacks go. Not especially when Josh Hoover's coming to the end. And he's been dominant, right? And again, I understand why people have been upset that I've said the things I've said about Mike Gundy, but
it's true.
And that'd be my point, right? Like I think,
and I think, to your point, not to cut you off, but what you just said there, right? Like TCU knows Josh Hoover's time at TCU is coming to an end, so they're looking for prospects or recruits. They're looking for the next guy. That's what you have to be doing. I can personally tell you, dude, you're right now, you're recruiting the class of 27. You guys get that? That's why this is so damaging. Because
who was the last great Oak State quarterback? I mean, I guess, Brandon Whedon certainly has to be in that conversation, but I think Mason Rudolph was a pretty good quarterback at Oak State. Is that the last guy that, because wasn't he like a 15 feels lofty, 13,000-yard quarterback, right? Mason Rudolph. And I think I'm certain he was 90-something touchdowns. Like Mason Rudolph is probably the last guy that you can really hang your hat on. And since Mason Rudolph, like Taylor Cornelius, Spencer Sanders, I mean, Spencer Sanders wasn't altogether terrible, but I mean, they didn't win a whole lot of games. I mean, I guess he was the starter in 2021 when wasn't that 2021, and I'd have to look it up. I think that was their 11-2 year. Yeah, 2021, 11-2. Although I don't have their individual stats, but I mean, their last great quarterback was probably Mason Rudolph, but Drew Brown, Garrett Rangel, Alan Bowman was a disaster. And now Zane Flores. How many Oak State fans have been in here telling me I'm an asshole because I'm not singing the praises of Zane Flores 2 years ago? Like, come on. Oh boy, Cowpoke Ranch. She wants to talk about administrators stealing money. What a great day for Oklahoma State. No, it's not. No, it's not. It is never a great day when you have to fire a legend. I mean, it just is not. Anytime you're going to fire a guy the stature of Mike Gundy, and I understand those that are red assery want to celebrate when guys like Mike Gundy gets fired. That's not something you celebrate, right? I mean, I understand that Mike Gundy has his critics, but Mike Gundy flaming at Oak State is not good for anybody. So you want to celebrate and call it a great day. I don't actually think it's a great day. Now a criminal investigate. There you go. Joseph Melendez for $20. Is it true that Jake moved to Oregon so that you could move Oak State James in as your third mic? Yeah, I mean, And if so, did you make him sign a grant of rights, or is he free to start a podcast with Gundy for the pro rata he deserves? He's free to do that as long as he has Kale Gundy.
Well,
for $2, I won't mind replacing Mike Gundy. Tell him we said hello. Cowpoke Ranch. It's reported that Chad might be stepping down at the end of the year. Completely false. Completely false. Cowpoke Ranch. Y'all acting like you've seen the problem with Gundy for years. It's a bald-faced lie. Okay. And yet here you are. Gooby 24. What's your confidence level in Morgan taking over? Morgan Scally. High. Now, do you mean how certain am I he will take over? I think it's
100%.
In contract, it's a fait accompli. I mean, am I confident he can do the job? Well, that's not the guy I would hire. I mean, I'm a big believer in whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs or, pick whoever you want. Go and find the offensive juggernaut. Make him your head coach. Have him fire or hire the best defensive coordinator you can get. And if that's Sark at Texas, Kiffin at Ole Miss, I mean, the blueprint is unbeaten. The blueprint is unbeaten. Go get the elite offensive guy.
Yeah, the criteria is clear.
And then have him go hire a great defensive coach. Jaron Eccles, a member of the show for 32 months. Where have you been, sir? Jaron, good to see you. Haven't been able to in for a minute. Good to see y'all. Go Cougs. Good to see you, Jaron. Cougs are in a great place. I think there's a real chance they compete for a conference championship. TJ Beck, good question. Is it harder to recruit to Lincoln or Stillwater?
Stillwater.
Matt Rule's in a really tough spot because how many times am I going to have to hear about how year 3 of Matt Rule, and yet, Dylan Mahomes is not that guy. It's not that guy. And
you're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
All we're going to do is hear about it and hear about it and hear about it and hear about it. And he's not that guy. Joseph Melendez. Gentle brutality. Well, they all didn't. Oh, boy, are we having conversations now? Dude that abides. Gundy in his defense wanted to coach football, and good for him, but college football roster building equals absolute NIL buy-in. Truth. People laugh at Dabo, but Gundy equally got by NIL as simple ball coach. Yeah. and it's ugly. It is ugly.
But again,
and
key difference between Dabo and Gundy would be what? Oh, that's right. Multiple national championships.
Dabo had a quarterback with a massive forehead, and
facial recognition.
You didn't. You know, that's Anthony Raimundo
Hey,
Barron.
Raimundo.
How about Tim Beck as the new OSU coach? I think he's at Coastal now. It's not. I think they need a big name. I think they need.
Yeah, you need a nameplate guy. You need a, like, again, I keep saying Garrett Riley, but someone of that.
That's a big
ilk,
name.
Like, yeah, someone that's like no doubt about it. Hey, this guy, like, you need somebody that can walk in a room full of dudes with a bunch of money and be like, hey, I'm that guy. I hold the clipboard. I make the calls. Pay us money, so we'll go get talent. That's what you need.
And the problem is, if you're going to get a Garrett Riley, it's got to be an over-the-top financial deal to get him, because the job's just not attractive.
Now, though, ain't that college football now, though? Like,
to a certain extent,
get a guy, like,
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I just my point is, God, it's so painful. You just can't be mediocre in this game anymore. And guys like Dabo, Mike Gundy, Kyle Whittingham. I mean, this older guard of coach that doesn't want to pay players big money. I mean, you're looking at two guys here in Gundy and Witt that have one thing in common, and what is it? They haven't had elite quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Now, at Oak State, you haven't had elite anything. At Utah, you've had unbelievable wide receivers, really good running backs, great offensive line. It goes without saying defense.
Dude, the defense.
You put dudes in the NFL.
Hell, you even put punters in the NFL, dude.
But you haven't had a quarterback. And last time I checked, that's pretty important. Tiger Jeb, Lincoln, Oak State is at least close to Oak City.
Yeah, but that's not what it's about, dude. It's not. This is not professional sports, dude. Get this. Let's make this really clear. When you're a high school kid and you're getting recruited, or secondarily, if you're in the portal, if you're already been if you're a sophomore in the portal, let's say, you already know what the college grind is like. You already know what to expect. Like, I don't think you're so concerned necessarily how close you are to a major metro. What you're concerned about is, like, especially if you're a quarterback, you're concerned about, like, getting to the NFL. You're
concerned about how many major metros are going to watch you on TV.
Yeah.
That's what you're concerned about. Are you a
Big Ten network school, or are you an ESPN national TV school?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That awkward guy. Put some respect on Alan Bowman. Man,
dude, the arm sleeve was incredible, bro.
That red hair was boner. Bailey Dietrich, Mason Rudolph getting his own helmet thrown at him by Myles Garrett. Well, you know.
Everyone's known for something.
MH5. Okay. Money doesn't go as far in rev share era. Massive buyouts for coaches, NIL rev share, all changing the game. 1 million doesn't buy you what it used to. Boosters and their millions do buy you more than it used to, though. Is Oak State a poverty program? To quote Duck Season.
I'm not ready. I don't think that Oak State is a program that is unfixable or like somehow uncurable, right? Like Oklahoma State, you can easily, in my opinion, you could easily turn this program around inside of 3-4 years. You could do what Texas Tech did, in my opinion. Texas Tech is in Lubbock. You're in Stillwater. Like, they're not in some major metro.
Yeah.
They're not, like, this is not there. You're not talking about Texas versus Oklahoma State. With all due respect, you're talking about Tech. And the only difference is you've got this guy in Cody Campbell, who's an absolute trailblazer in a million different ways, and you're well-funded. So you allowed, and again, this is the verbiage, you allowed your head coach to go out and do a job for you. But if you're not going to water the plant, dude, if you're not going to feed the guy money and let him go out and buy players, like what are we doing?
What's the point?
And
didn't Cody Campbell make $4 billion more today? And I'm not even joking. I thought I saw a flash come across my phone that homie sold his company today or something. for like $4 billion. I could be wrong. But it's interesting. Jake was trying to tell me what audio we had today. And, I mean, he's terrible at audio and video too. But he does have Cody Campbell talking about money, though.
The issue that we have in college sports today is that we have this professionalized cost side, but this semi-professionalized revenue side. So we're paying the players and we're paying the athletes as if they're professional athletes, but then we have no ability to monetize our media rights like professional sports do. College football is the second most popular sport in the country, right? It has twice as much viewership as the NBA, but the NBA makes twice as much money as college football does. That's absurd, right? The numbers are empirical. They're well studied. There is no question that if we allow colleges to market their media rights the way that pro sports teams do, a lot more money is going to go into the system, which is going to allow us to preserve and save college sports.
It's not that hard.
I mean, he's not wrong, but he's talking about college football, and he's at a place in Texas Tech until he showed up with his all money, boy. Or it's really not all money, but anyway, when he showed up with his billions and started throwing money everywhere, well, now all of a sudden, hey, Texas Tech is winning. What Cody Campbell is telling you is his billions aren't endless and his pockets aren't bottomless. And he wants that program to start revenue generating more money. And again, not to keep telling you, hey, Monty, but how many times have I said this is why Brett Yormark has to be well respected? You want to talk about playing games at Wembley? You want to logos on the field, patches on the shoulders? Like, you got to start doing this stuff. And if you don't want to do NFL Pro Day, and if you don't want to do the Shaq concert in Kansas City, and if you don't want, it's the Mountain West moving to Las Vegas, or you have to do this stuff. Because I wholeheartedly agree with Cody Campbell when he says we're the second most popular sport in America. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But the problem is the reason the NBA makes more money is they all operate at the same level. They all kick in the same amount. They all don't make the same amount. But they're all revenue sharing the same amount of money. The problem is Baylor's not spending money to win. Oak State's not spending money to win. Utah isn't spending enough money on NIL to win. I'll be honest with you. BYU is certainly spending enough money, and looky here, they're going to compete for a conference championship in probably both basketball and football. So let me get this right. You're saying the universities that spend a bunch of money and they have corporate sponsorships out their wazoo, they're the ones succeeding? I don't understand it. Well, you better understand it, because to get that corporate money, what do you have to do? You got to spend money to make money. And Cody Campbell is spending money to make money. Ryan Smith, tech billionaire, spending money to make money at BYU. And they're winning. And I understand you've got T-Boone Pickens, boy. What is T-Boone's money doing for you right now? Not a whole lot. And if you want to celebrate Mike Gundy getting fired, you better take some of T-Boone's old money, and you better go throw $10 million a year at the best offensive mind you can find, because that's what's going to get all the boys back on the horse in Stillwater. That's what's going to bring them back to the yard. Go find me a Garrett Riley who can go get me the best quarterback in the portal, and in the same year, the best quarterback in the portal and the best quarterback in high school football. That's what you need. That's what you have to do. That's what's required. Does that always work? No. But what did we find out about Texas Tech this past weekend? They got a whole bunch of dudes who can sling it.
Yep.
How many quarterbacks do you have?
Apparently none.
How many quarterbacks do my beloved have? None. The best we could do was a Michigan didn't want you, go play at Notre Dame. That's who we are, right? How is it possible that the supposed blue blood in this league doesn't spend money and doesn't have a single quarterback? I have no idea. So we can sit here on the day that Mike Gundy got whacked, right? But one of his biggest problems was he talks too goddamn much.
College football, as we all know, has changed in a very, very dramatic fashion, and it's really not the old college football. This is a paid game, okay? So whether I agree with it or not makes zero difference. It's like being in an argument with your wife and you know you're right. It makes zero difference. You're wrong. You might as well just get over it, give in. Things are going to be much smoother.
I mean, that's one way to go out. You know,
that is one way to go out. And that was not his best work, certainly.
For people that are sitting home drawing an unemployment check, how can you not take the trash out when I told you for 2 years, if you walk by the door and there's a bag of trash, take the trash out? I'm a man. I'm 40.
That's my ringtone for everything.
Oh, it is?
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Glad that wasn't mine. Yeah. Well, I changed mine last night. I figured if he was going to use my ringtone, then I should certainly use his ringtone.
We can be as competitive as anybody in the country on any given day.
We want everybody in the country to know, with all due respect, we got a logo too.
The sides that you get on Thanksgiving, you don't get any time during the year.
It started to sink in when I had to get up at 5:45 a.m. and be here before them and prepared for practice. It sunk in real quick.
But then when he did it, I said, oh, heck, I got to do it now. So when I got home, of course, I got it. Kristen said it made her kind of throw up in her mouth a little bit.
Where are you from?
I'm from Shorts Illustrated.
Sweet. I'll be farming. That's what I do. I don't know if I'm any good at it, but I like to do it. I can't just sit by a pool and just look around.
And I am a vacuuming fool, and I am a bathroom cleaning fool.